Silent Hill: The Short Message is a horror game developed by Hexadrive and published by Konami, and it's available right now on the PlayStation. This was the Shadow Drop free game from State of Play. It is the return to a standard-ish Silent Hill experience. Silent Hill has been back. They had that weird interactive YouTube show thing that went kind of south. Like, I don't think that was received very well at all, Silent Hill Ascension. But this is the first traditional game since Konami has brought this property back. And I really liked it. I liked it a lot. It's a 2-hour experience, so it's sit down and do it all in one go. It is very much PT-esque. So if you played PT, this is very familiar. The graphics are presented in a first-person perspective, so you can get up close to the grime and the fucking gnarly shit that you're going to be seeing in the Silent Hill universe. You are a young girl who gets a text message from your friend beckoning you to meet her at this apartment complex. You show up and pass out and are all of a sudden transported inside, where the world starts to go sideways really fast as you are looking for your friend and discovering all sorts of creepy horrors along the way, and discovering that things aren't what they seem in traditional Silent Hill fashion. I like this a lot because it is very atmospheric. It sidesteps some of the things that would make this maybe a little more dense. This is a very stripped down Silent Hill experience, so they take out combat entirely. There's no inventory management. The puzzles are very, very light. It's an interactive haunted house. Think more like a Layers of Fear kind of experience, where you're exploring and unraveling the story and then running from some horrible, horrible monsters. It's great. It's great, and it's encapsulated. Like, it's just a taste of where Silent Hill could be going.
When you look at this game, my main question was, it's because you immediately bring up, PT. It's not going to reach those heights, right? Like, I feel like it's setting itself up for disappointment when it's such a high bar for fans, and you say, "Hey, this is kind of like this." In what ways would you say it kind of hits that tone, and what ways does it like fall short? Do you think people in general are disappointed by what they ended up getting? Because I didn't see the most positive reactions come out.
I think that PT is kind of like an unobtainable. It's such an icon, right? Like, not only
Yes.
was it a
Mystical.
great experience, but it was such a unique delivery of it. It just came out of nowhere. It was a social experiment. Nobody knew what it was. They never even said this is a Silent Hill game. It came out, people started playing it, and then as they progressed and solved puzzles together, they discovered it. Oh, this is a Silent Hill experience. So like that's such a unobtainable thing, but there's a lot of stuff in here that calls to mind PT, not just the perspective, but there's a looping mechanic which was present in PT. If you played PT, you were constantly going around and this sequence of corridors, and as you would unlock the story, you would loop back to the beginning and experience it again from a little different perspective, and things would change and you'd solve more puzzles, but you kept reliving the nightmare over and over. This has that. As you explore and unlock more of what the story is, you will wake back up at the beginning again, and things are a little bit different and a little bit more dangerous, and you're going further down that rabbit hole. So it's got that element to it. It visually is just absolutely fantastic. The graphics on display here are really, really top notch. And what I like about this particular version is it takes Silent Hill norms and it brings them into like modern day. So for example, Silent Hill, you always have your flashlight, you always have your radio, and the radio goes off when the enemies come close and it gets staticky, and you know that's when the bad guys are approaching. Well, first of all, nobody carries a radio. Nobody carries a handheld radio anymore. And nobody carries a flashlight. But you know what you do have? You have a cell phone. Everybody's got a cell phone.
Modernized it.
In this game, you're carrying around your cell phone as your flashlight, and as enemies approach, your cell phone starts to light up and flicker and show creepy images that aren't supposed to be there, and that's an indication that the enemies are close by. And not only that, but it's your communication device to other characters. So you'll be getting text messages throughout this game. Some from your friends, some from other things. And it's a really great tool. It's like an all-in-one tool. It's what's progressing the story. It's your flashlight, which is a Silent Hill staple, and it's your radio. All
Can you
in
pick
one.
up milk?
You know what this game does? There's a speaker in your DualSense controller.
Oh no!
And as you're
It's all
walking,
creepy.
and as you're walking down these dark hallways and hearing noises and seeing things in the distance, and then your DualSense speaker will ping with the text sound, and your phone pops up, scares the shit out of you, sends chills right up your spine. I love that
Technology, I love it. Yeah.
so great. It's not perfect. Like I said, there's no combat in the game. What they do instead is there are pocket chase sequences where you'll get to a point where something is chasing you through a maze. You got to get to the end before it gets you. Otherwise, it'll kill you and send you back to the beginning of the chase. And the reason that these are a miss is because by nature, as you're running in first person, that can be disorienting.
Yes.
You add on top of that the fact that you're going through a maze. That's even more disorienting. You add on top of that your death penalty is to go back to the beginning. That's frustrating. And then the fourth thing is Silent Hill is known for having its light and dark world, right? You're walking through the real world, and then something happens to switch it to the dark world. Think like Stranger Things. And all of a sudden, there's like blood on the walls and chain link fences where there should be doors. And you see all these creepy monsters and spooky visuals and stuff. That happens during these chase sequences. And oftentimes that's the most interesting thing to look at. So as you're running, you can see things in the distance that are kind of communicating to you part of the story because it's all environmental, but you can't stop and look at it and take it in because you're being chased. And if you stop to look at it, you're dead. And then you got to go back to the beginning. So I found myself often like wanting to stop and look at, like, that looks really interesting. And part of Silent Hill is the horror is a reflection of your character's story. So you see things that are important that you want to pay attention to so that you can better understand what's going on, but you can't. You cannot stop.
Like some pacing issues.
Yeah.
Gameplay elements just not really panning out completely. I see.
And it's kind of like that's like the end of a chapter is like a chase sequence. So you'll do a story beat, you'll learn a little bit more, and then you'll get chased by the thing. You get to the end of the chase, and that's when the loop occurs that I talked about previously. The chase sequences are the weakest part of this game by far. And especially the final one, which I guess would be the final boss. You have to be running through this chase, this maze, and you have to find things. There's like 6 things you have to find, and you don't know where there are, and there's no way to. There's no waypoint telling you which way to go. I retried and retried that thing probably a dozen times, and I was getting pretty pissed to the point where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to finish this, but I'm glad that I did. I powered through it. It's a great little 2-hour experience that really gets me excited for the future of Silent Hill. The fact that they brought it back in a way that feels familiar and new and fresh. And Akira Yamaoka does the soundtrack. The Silent Hill staple returns. He's got a song at the end, and it just feels so right. And it's not perfect, but it's free, and it feels like Silent Hill is back.
I am very excited, and I want to get outside my comfort level, my comfort zone with these games. So if I do end up making the plunge to switch to the PlayStation ecosystem, I think Silent Hill has to be some of the first stuff that I experience. And for someone who's just a scaredy cat like me, I think it'll hit extra hard what they're trying to do. It's a tough thing to take such a beloved franchise and try to modernize it, create new experiences about it.
They've got a lot to prove because it's been gone forever.